So today I'm filming a full day of eating, and that means absolutely everything I eat and drink throughout my entire training day, and it is a double threshold day. I thought, why not make it most intensive, most calorie burning day, and kind of take you through the process of how I fuel for sessions, recover from sessions, and then everything in between. I feel like the window between like pre-session and post-session and during session is a bit different to what I'm having first thing in the morning for lunch and for dinner. So it's just going to go through my entire thought process, why I have the things I eat, and that's about it really. So it's currently 8:30. I've already had 2 glasses of water, and then this is my third glass, which has electrolytes in. I then also have a coffee, which is just 2 tablespoons of coffee, and then I also put in this My Protein mushroom complex. It's just got some different types of mushrooms in, lion's mane and things like that. Just completely tasteless, so I add it to my coffee in the morning. And then also, because it's a double threshold day, I'm going to be taking a Nomeo shot, which is, if anyone doesn't know, it's broccoli sprouts and a bit of lemon and sugar. I'm going to butcher the science. There's essentially a thing in it which I'm going to shorten to call it ITC because it's a long name I can't pronounce, and that should help with producing less lactic acid. And also there's some research, I think, on it helps stimulate mitochondrial pathways, which means you should develop more mitochondria if you use it. If I'm producing less lactate, in theory I can run faster at the same pace, which will just, in theory again on paper, mean I improve a bit more because I'm running faster. That's the goal anyway. So, got my porridge. I think this is about, well, it's 135 grams of oats with milk and water. Again, it's on the screen, the exact calories, carbs content and things like that. And then just gonna have this, and then just get ready for the first threshold session of the day, which is at 11. So I will eat again before my session. I'm having another coffee, some more water, and, which I forgot to get, and a banana, which for obvious reasons I'm not gonna eat on camera. But this is what I'm gonna have, and then before the session, as soon as I've eaten this, I'll go through gels, carb mixes and things like that. I'm going to do 5K, 4K, 3K with some jogs in between this morning for the threshold session. So that gives me plenty of time to take carb mix during, if I want to take some during the rep I will, and then also I have windows after the 5K or after the 4K to take a gel as well. So the goal for these sessions, even though it's continuous, so I'm jogging recovery rather than resting, I'll still have time to take a sip of water or carb mix or take a gel during the jog recovery or during the rep if I want to sip some carb mix as well. So it's just about finding ways to get the fuel in even if you are still continually running, because that is the way that you can keep on top of, you know, your glycogen stores, how many carbohydrates you're intaking, how many calories you're having cumulatively. I just prefer to always be on top of that rather than start getting into a hole, because then you've got to climb out of that hole as well as try and fuel. So it's just a thing that I always feel like I need to be on top of, especially in a double threshold day, to make sure I'm not feeling shocking later and tomorrow, which has certainly happened plenty of times. So in terms of what I'm having for the session, I'll take this gel maybe at the start, maybe halfway through, whenever I feel like taking it, but I'll definitely take it. And that is 30 grams of carbs. It's the My Protein, the energy gel. And then I'll also be using the My Protein cyclic dextrin, which is just pure carbohydrates. So in half a scoop there is 24 grams of carbs as well, which isn't a crazy amount, but it's enough to also supplement this gel to get it in. There we go. As you can tell, I'm not the best at this, so I've just made an absolute mess. Luckily my girlfriend's not here, so I can quickly clean this up without anyone seeing. 29 grams of carbs in because I added 30 grams of it instead of 25, so a bit more carbs. So I'm just about to get on the treadmill to warm up. This is the current setup, so I'm gonna take this after the warm up, like 3K warm up, and then I'm gonna take this, sip on this during the session, and then for the session itself I'm going to be wearing the Skechers Aero Tempo, which is carbon infused shoe, but it's not like an all-out racer, so it's kind of, in the middle ground for training long runs, tempo, threshold and stuff like that. Just found it flows really well at these kind of paces, and I like to train in something what's not like an all-out super shoe. So sketches aero tempo for the session. The goal is to hopefully start at around 3:14 per kilometre and then cut down to like 3:10, 3:09 per kilometre. With it being 5k, 4k, 3k, the reps are a bit longer, which should mean on paper lactate might accumulate a bit more and heart rate might get a bit higher. So it's about managing that effort as well as possible, which is just going to be sensible. If I don't feel great, I'm going to slow down. I'm not testing lactate this morning. I'm going to test it this evening purely because it's jog recovery. So I don't have any chance to get off the treadmill and test the lactate. But with the amount of times I do it, and with my heart rate data, there's never a time where I'm really worried that my lactate's too high. I know what my lactate should be. So although it would be optimal to test it in a threshold session, I'm only going to do that later on in the interval session tonight, which is going to be 10 by 1k. Warm up done. Just going to have a gel, do a few mobility drills and then get started. So, morning threshold finished. It was actually the best I've felt in a long time for the morning, which is great. It's the first time I've taken Nomeo before a morning threshold session, so probably is just that, but I'm hoping there's also some maybe fitness or recovering a bit better, which I've been trying to work on as well. So, very good morning. Just going to finish this, which is the carb mix. Should have drank more during the session, I didn't, so I need to down this and then go outside and cool down and then make lunch as soon as possible. The goal for me after a threshold session or any session is fuel as quick as possible and then fuel again and then fuel again. So yeah, it's down in this. In fact, I'm gonna have, if people see my previous video or just like any of my content, they know I'm a massive Belvita fan, but the shop closest to my apartment unfortunately doesn't have Belvitas. So I have been, if I can get them open, this is terrible, I can never do anything on camera. I've been resorting to Jaffa cakes, or have started to resort to Jaffa cakes, which I might have not even been filming anything at the time, but is what I used to have before anything else, like the start of like the cereal biscuit kind of thing, or biscuit pre-session or post-session, was Jaffa cakes, and then it went to Garibaldi biscuits, and then it went to Belvitas, and now it's back to Jaffa cakes. So I'm going to have some of these, which now I'm filming it, I need to check that how many carbs are in it because I forgot about that. So cool down finished, going to hydrate. I found like the hardest thing for me is making sure I don't go through the day too dehydrated, and especially that then carries over to the next day and I wake up feeling terrible, and then my face might be puffy. I just always have loads of problems if I'm not drank enough, and especially on a double threshold day. If I don't drink enough now or in an hour, like it has to be cumulatively hydrated. It can't just be, oh, I've been behind for a few hours, let me try and catch up. I always have to make sure I'm staying on top of it, because if I get to an evening session and I'm dehydrated, I feel terrible. And that's also with consideration to the fact that I do heat training 4 or 5 times a week. So if I feel terrible tonight, then I have heat training tomorrow, then I have heat training the day after, and then I've got another session, then I've got heat training, then I've got another session. There's never any time to sort of have a day where I can catch up on rehydrating. So I'm just going to have another glass of water, and then I'm going to cook lunch 1, which is a very specific, important point, is lunch number 1, and then in about an hour or so I'll have lunch number 2, which just to space out the eating and also just to get as much food in as possible. I used to have massive bowls of food. I don't think you absorb that many carbohydrates in one go, so it's kind of a waste almost. So I just like to split it up. I'm looking to start working with Simmer. So at the minute it's not a paid collaboration, they're just sending me a few meals to try. So this is lunch 1, which is Portuguese peri-peri chicken. I don't have a microwave. I wouldn't do this in the microwave anyway. I'm quite big on not heating up plastics, so just going to heat it up in one of these. I got these when I moved into this new flat,
didn't have any pans, and my girlfriend was like, IKEA has a really good deal. IKEA obviously is basic, but it's reputable. Got these terrible pans, and then I got 2 pans from Aldi. Best pans I've ever used by far. The Aldi middle aisle, what does seem to have absolute gems in sometimes, whereas this is just terrible. But it's good for heating up stuff. Don't have a microwave. I don't think I'm going to get one. We just didn't get one when we moved, and anything I can cook in a microwave, I can cook on the hob. I'm not a good cook. I'm actually a terrible cook. This is about as good as I can get, which is heating up meals that are already pre-made. My girlfriend cooks maybe 90%, 95% of the time. And she also mostly decides the meals. Like if I go to the shop, I'm getting something bland and terrible. So here we are. Lunch is served. Another glass of water. And for the session, which was this morning, I feel like I can go through the splits to give more context, I guess, around my effort in terms of the estimate of how many calories are burnt as well, but also the amount of intensity my body went through, because I think how you fuel depends on how much work you put your body through and how much you need to recover from that. So 3.2k warm up, which was 426 per kilometer, average heart rate of 118. And then the session was 14k in total, 5k 600 meters jog, 4k 600 meters jog, 3k, and then 200 meters jog, 200 meters stride, 200 meters jog, 200 meters stride. That was an average pace of 318 per kilometer and an average heart rate of 155, which is low. Like I said, it's the best I've felt in a long time. Felt really good. And the heart rate was low as well, which usually if your heart rate's low and you feel good, that's a good sign. Whereas if your heart rate's low and you feel bad, it's probably one of the worst signs you could have. Heart rate's quite a weird one. It could be high or low and mean different things. And then 2k cool down, 457 per kilometer with an average heart rate of 122 because it's still dropping from the session. The way I eat is to be fueled, and also from years of experience know how much I might be recovered or know how much I might need extra fuel. So even though I do look at calories to kind of back it up, I don't use that as the main driving force to make sure I eat that amount of calories. I eat to fuel, then I weigh myself occasionally to make sure I've not lost any weight, and also maybe if I had an inkling that I'd been eating way too much, to make sure I've not put on too much weight. But I think the way I train, that's near enough impossible. I've never had a situation where I've put on weight which is more than a few or even like a couple kilograms, which if that's weight that's gone into muscle or fuel in my body, then it's not bad weight. I've got a really healthy relationship with food. I love food as it is, and you know, it's one of the biggest tools, if not the biggest tool, to improve performance. So yeah, just gonna eat this, which actually looks delicious. There's a lot of chicken in it. Sometimes, you know, I've had some other pre-made meals before and the company kind of skimps out on the meat, whereas this is a lot of good meat. So yeah, what I need. So for the second lunch of the day, I've just decided to have another simmer meal. I was going to cook some other stuff, but I can't be bothered. So I was choosing between having 1 or 2 bagels. I've settled on 1, and then I'm going to put some honey on it. And then if I feel like I need another one, I'll just have another one. But I don't want to have too much heavy stuff before a session. Bagels tend to be quite heavy for me. So anything that I don't feel like I've fueled well enough with bagels, I'll just have maybe another gel or a carb mix or something like that. But bagels are delicious and they're an amazing source of carbs. Just sometimes 2 bagels pre-second session of the day when I'm already eating too much or already eating a lot. Bagels is one of the foods that kind of sets my stomach off if I do have too much of it. So just getting ready for the session. It's 4 o'clock, which means I've timed this terribly because I need to make a coffee, which is gonna ruin the entire recording because the kettle's loud. But basically, another coffee, which I'll brew in a second. And then I'm gonna have a glass of water, but this time I'm gonna take it with a scoop of beta-alanine from my protein. Then I'm also gonna have it with 2 fish oil tablets, which you probably can't even pick up on camera. I have 3 of these a day, try to space them out a bit with meals. And then, same as earlier, a scoop of carb mix. So it's 4:30, time for the second banana of the day. This is ideally about an hour and a half before I start my threshold session, so after the warm-up. So the goal is to start the threshold session at 6. It's good to kind of always rely on the things you know that work rather than maybe some stuff that you know doesn't work or don't really have an idea about. So I never take or eat anything new on these kind of days. So I've just jogged to the track, like 3.2k warm up or 2 miles. I'm gonna have a energy chew for some extra carbs and then do some drills and start the session. Just finished the session of 10 by 1k. So now I've got a 2k jog home and then I'm gonna have something straight away. Honestly, the people at this track on a Tuesday night, like it's a massive group of people and none of them have a clue how to use like lane 1, lane 2. And for me, it's like, it should be common sense. But if you're doing a rep, I don't care how fast, how slow, how good you are. If you're running harder than a jog, then go in lane 1. Not side by side in lane 1, unless there's track rules otherwise. And if not, if you're jogging, then don't go in lane 1, especially not side by side like this group do, in whatever lane they fancy. Like, it's just common sense really. So I'm hoping someone in that group is watching this video so they can tell the rest of the group to read signs which are all around the track to follow simple track etiquette, but I haven't got much hope. Just finished the cool down. I'm gonna have this straight away for some carbs and protein. When you're trying to get in as much carbs and protein as I am, having stuff like this is just a nice way to make it taste a bit nicer while still getting what you need in. By chance, you've been for a food shop?
Not a proper food shop.
Not a proper food shop, but a bigger food shop, or like a, what would you even call it?
This is fun snack. None of this
fun
is for
snack
you.
shop. And even though it's not directly what I'm eating today, I will be eating some stuff today. Kind of gives an insight into what I eat other days, what's not in this video. So over to you to.
I don't think it does. My friend's coming to say this is like stuff that Alfie probably won't eat. Pastries.
Not for me.
This is where I'm not sure. This is more pastries. Definitely not for you because they're almonds. Triple chocolate cookies. Chicken for tonight. Peppers for tonight. Orange juice. But Alfie said the other day that he was bored of orange juice, so I also got him apple and mango juice.
Nice.
And we usually go for the orange and pineapple squash, but I thought I'd switch it up and just go for an orange.
What is it? Marshmallows?
Oh no, you've seen my surprise.
Whipped cream.
At work, there's this really good game that we play. And I was trying to tell Alfie about it, and I saw it in Oliver Bonus today, so I got it for us to play.
So what snacks did you get for me?
I didn't.
That's actually just reminded me, I'm going to have some orange juice or a juice because there's so many carbs in juice and I feel like dinner's quite a late one. Well, I say quite late.
It is
It's probably
late.
what we've been always eating at.
Bit later then.
So we're probably going to be eating at about 9.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have some carbs in juice form. I need to weigh it out, that's so annoying. So there's like 12 grams of carbs per 100 mil of this, and I've got about 215. So whatever that is on screen now, but it's just such an easy way to get carbs and calories and whatever else. Dinner is ready, and as mentioned, it is fajitas. So I've got 3 tortilla wraps filled with chicken, pepper, onion, cheese, and seasoning. After this, I'm going to see if I'm still hungry. I've definitely got hot chocolate on the cards, so that's an extra however many carbs and calories there. Might have a protein shake as well. We'll see if this feels like it's enough for me. At the minute, I am still pretty hungry. So the PM session was a 3.2k warm-up with an average heart rate of 130 BPM. I wasn't wearing my armband. I was only using wrist heart rate, so it'll be wrong. And then I did some strides in the warm-up, which was 400 meters at 322 per kilometer. And then 10 by 1k with 200 meters jog, so 11.8k in total because I didn't do the last 200 meters jog. Including the jogs, it was 325 per kilometer, but I ran 309, 308, 306, 304, 303, 304, 3 minutes, 302, 301, 302. And the lactate for that was 2.2 after 5 and then 3.2 after 10. That was in the On Cloud Boom Strike, so it's not a carbon plated shoe. And I do find doing kilometer reps, especially at the minute, in a non-super shoe is pretty tough for me, especially working my calves a lot with such a low profile shoe. Say low profile, I mean by today's standards. I love the shoe, it's like perfectly, I want to say perfectly bad, but that's probably the wrong word because it's not bad in any way. It's just designed to be not as good as a carbon plated shoe to train in, to strengthen your calves, your ankles, your feet. And to be honest, my calves are screaming at me this evening, to be honest. The most my calves have hurt after a session day in quite a while, which is a good thing because it means I train them. And if that session forced me to train them the way it did, then that means my calves are weak at the minute. So it's only a positive. After a hard day, 35k of running, I am finishing my day with I'm a Celebrity and a lovely hot chocolate.